and I work with a lot of couples and parents, right? The things that we loved about each other in the very beginning, right? Like I hear men say, like, I loved how independent she was. She would put me in my place, la da da, all of this end up being the exact complaints that they have about
Yeah.
us later.
Yes, precisely.
Mm,
So the things that we usually love about our partner in the beginning, what we find most attractive, is usually the thing that ends up breaking us up in the end. Yeah. But we see this mostly with people who, two attachment styles that are both insecure. So
got it.
we talked about a little bit about the person who's anxiously attached.
Hmm.
The anxious attacher will oftentimes fall hard for someone who's avoidantly attached.
Hmm.
Now, why is that? It's exactly what you're describing. So the anxious
Wow.
attacher will think that the person who's avoidantly attached, will be very impressed by their sense of independence and how together they are, and their level of stoicism, although it's really just repressed emotion, but it's perceived as confidence.
Hmm.
And the people who are avoidantly attached have really beautiful relationships with boundaries, which people who are anxiously attached do not understand boundaries at
Nope.
all. Don't
Hmm.
understand them. Don't. They find it almost insulting. Like, why are you imposing a boundary on me?
Hmm.
And so there's a lot that the anxious person will like about the avoidant person, and the reverse is true too. So the avoidant person, we'll talk more about that in a moment, will
Yeah.
really love the kind and generous and open spirit of someone who is avoidantly attached. Someone who's anxiously attached. Someone
Hmm.
who's anxiously attached is usually like a bundle of love.
Yeah.
They just want to love you. They like to be surrounded by groups of people. They're very open. They're very generous. They're kind. But again, they're operating from a place. Their core wound is, I will be abandoned. So they're loved by everyone because they have learned how to be people pleasers.
Sure.
They have learned to be so incredibly likable, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
this is a change of pace for the person who is avoidantly attached because they were emotionally neglected in childhood. So they didn't have that warmth. They didn't have that emotional connectivity, right? They were left alone a lot as a child to handle things on their own. So all of a sudden, this other person comes along and they're like, you don't have to do life alone. You have me,
I'll
right?
make you my whole world. Don't worry.
You'll be everything to me. Like, and in the beginning it's like, wow, this feels so good to mean so much to someone. But it doesn't take long for that to start to feel really suffocating, overwhelming, and threatening to the person who's avoidantly attached,
Mm.
because their framework is very different. Because they were left alone or emotionally like neglected in childhood, they don't have the modeling to be able to connect emotionally in a healthy way with someone else. Their expectation is, I have my feelings and you have yours. Like, I will handle mine, you will handle yours. Like, they're extremely good at avoiding their own feelings. They're even better at avoiding their partner's feelings.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
Well,
that initial spark, when you get an anxious and an avoidant together, it's usually like, especially depending on how far they are in their polarities. And I've seen this play out in real time with, like, in my social group, where there
okay.
was someone who was highly avoidant and someone highly anxious, and they met and it was explosive. It
Wow.
was, and it's fascinating to watch. It was explosive for 6 weeks. I think it was good for 2 weeks, but like good to a point like Disney couldn't make this movie.
Uh-huh.
That spectacular of a connection. And then for 4 weeks, they fought intensely, and then it,
Right.
it ended.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Because really, they are very, very different.
Mm.
Very, very different. Someone who's anxiously attached really wants that closeness, right? They want the intimacy. And someone who's avoidantly attached is really scared of that intimacy, right? And it doesn't
Yeah.
mean that they can't build towards intimacy, but they take things really slow. And the person who's anxiously attached, they move at the speed of light.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, this all makes sense of why I typically describe anxious as feeling as more likely to confuse chaos for excitement.
Mm.
And that like, oh no, I love him. I love her. She's who I want. And this is why. And so then it is this kind of like push pull. You're always keeping me on my toes. I can't ever get
Mhm.
comfortable and feel safe with you. And then if I do, then it's like, ugh, you're boring. And then I have to like
Yeah, there you
move
go.
on
You're
to the next
boring.
one. Yeah.
You're boring. That's another version of the ick. I need a little bit of excitement. So what
Yeah.
you're saying is that you're used to the emotional volatility, the up and down, right? Like, so there's a reward system there, right? Intermittent reinforcements. So it's the same principle behind gambling. I don't know if you've ever used a slot machine.
I'm from Vegas originally.
Okay, so you might have seen
Oh
one or
yeah.
two.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that about
Yeah,
you.
of course.
And I'm like, have you ever seen a slot machine? Anyways, okay.
Yeah, you can. According to a lot of people who haven't been to Vegas, we like live in hotels. I live on the floor of the casino
Of
floor. We're good
course
to
you did.
go.
You
Yeah.
always had quarters in your pocket.
Yeah.
Of course.
Deck of
Anyway,
cards ready to play anytime.
the reason that slot machines, as an example, are so addictive is because of the concept of intermittent reinforcement, which positive reinforcement, which means that you lose, you lose, you lose, you win.
Mm-hmm.
You lose, you lose, you lose, you win. And so what that does is it keeps dropping these bombs of dopamine, like
Yeah.
great, and then lose, lose, lose. And so dopamine is just the feel good chemical that our brain releases, right? So when you
Yeah.
talk about being on that roller coaster, I'm close to you, I'm not, I can never quite feel safe. What you're doing is you're indulging in that anxious avoidant dance, which is really just, it just keeps dropping dopamine hits.
And it's
And
addicting.
it's addicting. It
Yeah.
feels really good in the moment until the next day you're being ignored. And then it
Yeah.
doesn't feel good. But then 2 days later, you're called back again and it feels good again.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So
Okay.
this is definitely something that we see over and over and over with someone who is anxiously attached. Again, because the love that you received in childhood was not predictable. So I'm not blaming your parents. There could be a myriad of circumstances, but it means that you got a little bit of love, it was taken away. You got a little bit of love, it was taken away, right? So in your mind, you became very sensitive or triggered by the idea of being abandoned, right?
Yeah.
The other core wounds that you carry, well, maybe not you, but typically someone who's anxiously attached will carry is I am unlikable, I am
Uh-huh.
unlovable,
Yep.
I will be alone, I am bad, or I'm not good enough, these types of things,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so the amount of trust that someone who's anxiously attached affords themselves is very limited. And so they are heavily reliant on external sources. Did you find it difficult for you to spend Saturday night alone?
100%. I didn't know what to do with that. There were
Okay.
like during the day, it was nice because I was just so busy, but I could not spend an evening home alone. And then once I noticed that I kind of wanted that, I went and got a dog. I was like, I need something to
Yeah.
comfort me and love me all the time. Whereas now I'm much more of a cat person than a dog. I'm like, ugh, you're so needy. My God. Like, back off. It's just these things completely shifted
Mhm.
everything.
Now you're like, if you have a Saturday night alone, you're like, thank God.
Please,
Yeah.
please,
Yeah.
anytime. Yeah, when my husband, because my husband is, of course, he was, of course, avoidantly attacked,
Yep.
like, well, more, I think more disorganized, but yeah, definitely avoidantly. And we got together at 23. We were friends for a few years first,
Okay.
and we've been together since. We share these two boys. And in the beat, like when we were dating, he would just say, like, oh, I'm going to go somewhere by myself. Like, I just need alone time. And
Oof.
I would hear, I need time away from you.
Yes. I
And
don't
so
want to
then
be with
he
you.
would, yeah, like you're annoying. It's too much. Because I was like, if you love someone, we're just going to be together all the time, right? Like you just don't ever get sick of each other. Isn't that what love is? Isn't that how this is supposed to be? And he was just like, it's not time away from you. It's just time by myself. And
Yeah,
this guy, we just tortured each other for so many years. Just not knowing, not understanding what it
not
was. And then
understand.
once we learned, it was then like, well, what do I do about this now? And now it feels so like daunting to even attempt to address. So it took a crisis 4 years ago for us to get to that point. My husband's, we're celebrating his 4-year sobriety next month. And
Oh,
that is just incredible. And the work that he's doing helps me see my own shit and really do my own work. And I'm so proud of where we're at and how we've shifted our parenting and all of these things. And that's why I do this. So it's just incredible. And we didn't get to go really deeply into the other ones. We made it all about anxiousness. So
no,
I do want to
we're
hear.
gonna go. We can do a
Okay,
little bit of the other, but I'm so glad
perfect.
that you shared that story because it's a beautiful example of you can come to a level of awareness individually, and then also then work to shift the dynamic, right?
Yeah.
So now if your husband says to you, I just need a little bit of alone time, you understand he's not saying, I find you annoying, I want to get away from you. He's just saying, I need the way that I decompress my nervous system and the way that I calm myself is I do it alone.
Yeah. Well, and even now I can go and see him like in our bedroom and say, hey, do you want some alone time or do you want company? And now I can offer it in a way that doesn't, and even if he says like, oh, I'm good to take some alone time, I'm not like, gutted,
Hmm.
like asking just so that you'll say, no, 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 come on in. But now it's like, okay, or do you want it? Yes, no? Okay, cool.